The Spanish announce table.
We have an email, and we don't really have an email. All right, so we have an email, but we don't. If you want to email the show, right? Tweet the Table was fun. We just went through those, but if you can't abridge your conversation into whatever the character limit is now,
160.
You can send us an email. tableshow@gmail.com. If you forget that, you can go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net. There's a contact link right at the top. There's a little contact form. It'll send us the email. I copy and pasted a YouTube comment that I had missed that we should address into that and send it to our emails. So we have an email from a YouTube page called My Block Strongest Man. My Block Strongest Man is a YouTube page who is a loyal listener to the show, is a fan of our show. He also has a YouTube page called My Block Strongest Man, where he goes around showing folks how, hey, you can keep motivated, you can keep working out, you can kind of keep, you can still lift stuff around, you can find ways to work out with stuff you have around you, right? My Block Strongest Man. So check him out. He follows us, subscribes to us. Check him out.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
And he said, we had discussed Kenny Omega in one of the videos, and he said, I've heard Kenny Omega referred to as the best wrestler in the world over the last few years, and I'm interested in your take on how that is calculated, in quotations. Only in terms of in-ring performance. Right? For example, I would say Bret Hart is my favorite in-ring performer of all time because his moveset wasn't too outlandish, but still spectacular. The crisp punching was a sight to behold, and I think his selling was great. But the vast majority of the wrestling community would rate Shawn Michaels above him. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can respond here, or maybe an idea for a future video. I don't know if My Block Strongest Man has been a long-time listener of this show to know where we fall on Bret Hart.
That guy! Oh, I tell you what. Why do I gotta always be underneath Shawn Michaels? That guy, I don't even want to talk about him. He was a dick.
So, now, Bret Hart, we think was a bit of a whiny crybaby.
He was this.
We think he was also one of the guys who likes to smell his own farts. I think that we alluded to earlier. I don't think we verbalized it in that terms.
Mm-hmm.
But, look, he was what they used to brag about. He was Germany's favorite athlete running 4 years in a row or whatever, right? Like, he was not bad. He was definitely one of the best in the business at the time at what he did. The Hart family, its lineage, its athletic prowess can't be denied, right? We're not going to deny that. But the reason we would play Shawn Michaels is because, again, we watch the performance art of professional wrestling. And there are, I might put 50 people before Bret Hart in the performance art of professional wrestling in a well-rounded aspect. Kenny Omega would be on that list of 50 people above Bret Hart. I don't know that I would call Kenny Omega the best in the world, but he's probably one of the top 10, and I would just have to say that because I don't know him as well as I know some others because he wasn't on U.S. television for a large portion of that time. What do you think here?
Well, here's this. I struggle with this a lot. I struggle with it a ton because while I don't necessarily want to watch Elegante taking on Undertaker at WrestleMania, right? At WrestleMania 9 or WrestleMania, whatever it was. We don't fact check here. But or Great Khali versus Undertaker is not a fucking entertaining match. So there has to be some barrier of quality pro wrestling, right? But I don't watch pro wrestling for the pro wrestling, if that makes sense. One of my all-time favorites, if you were to look at my top 5 favorites, a lot of them are basic wrestlers. Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan. Shawn Michaels had his stuff, but what they got you to the ring was everything else. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon was dog shit wrestling at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but I tell you fucking what, I was glued to my fucking TV and on the edge of my seat. Right, the NWO. None of that fucking wrestling was good.
None of it was good.
But I watched each. Yeah, but I watched each week because wrestling to me there is an aspect of in the ring. You ring the bell, you wrestle. But anyone, especially in 2020, anyone can. There's no move that, let's just say AJ Styles is considered the greatest, right? There's no move in 2020 that AJ Styles is doing that the Regal twins also can't do.
Right.
And the Regal
Top Flight
twins
isn't doing.
Yeah, that Top Flight isn't doing. And they're not on your fucking television, the Regal Twins. They're on New Japan, which you should definitely check it out. But what I'm saying, they're not on Raw, they're not on SmackDown, but they can do move for move everything that AJ Styles is doing. So again, to me, wrestling is more than just you ring the bell, you do some moves, someone gets a win, someone gets a loss. It's promos. It's advancements of storytelling. It's what you do post-match. It's what you do pre-match. It's your entrance. It's the whole thing. That's why Bret Hart, to like what you were saying, to back up what you said, he's not even in my top 20. He has some amazing matches that I really like watching. The one with Mr. Perfect, the one with Shawn Michaels. I mean, there's dozens of Shawn Michaels ones. The ones with Undertaker, the ones
His
that
brother.
even have, Owen Hart, the ones at WrestleMania 10, or the one at WrestleMania 10. So I'm not saying like he's bad and I wouldn't rewatch his matches, but I've never went back and said, you know what fucking promo you got to hear from Bret Hart, other than the one where he got mad and he just started doing WCW and spitting at things. That was a shoot, right? But like, pro wrestling is more than just, can he do an Irish whip? Can he do an arm drag? Like, fuck off. They can all do that shit. Can he fucking get me into the building? Can he make me want to tune in? You know, MJF right now to me is way better than AJ Styles. And I love AJ Styles. Longtime listeners know exactly how much I love him. But if you say, hey, next up after the commercial break, it's AJ Styles on Raw, or on NXT, and next up on AEW Dynamite, it's MJF, I'm going to go to
Ditto.
MJF.
Ditto.
That
Without
is
a
what,
second thought. Without even...
And
even
again,
if it wasn't announced, if they were like, AJ Styles is going to be on NXT, and be like, what? And they were like, MJF's going to be on AEW, like, well, I'll watch AEW.
MJF. I'm going to MJF.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, and if it's a match, it's a promo, whatever it is, I know MJF is going to be entertaining. And that's what I get at with like these people with the ratings of matches and who the fuck cares about them? Like, again, not who the fuck cares, but like the match is one aspect of pro wrestling. You got to do it all to me, pal. Like you gotta fucking bring the whole picture in. Britt Baker,
it is one act of the theater.
Exactly. Another great
one
example.
act of the play. Yeah.
Britt Baker. I am tuning in 10 times out of 10 for a Britt Baker segment over any King Corbin
The waiting
segment.
room.
Yeah.
The waiting room. We forgot to talk about that. That's a
Yeah,
great,
on Dark.
like where it's like a Piper's Pit versus like the Britt Baker waiting room is money. I will tune into that before I'll turn into a Britt Baker match.
Well, but even if you say Britt Baker's wrestling, I'm going to say something's going to happen here. If you tell me, again, another great example of what I'm trying to convey to the audience here that's listening, is if you say a Britt Baker match is going up against a New Day tag team match, I'm going Britt Baker 10 times out of 10 in November 2020 because it's more entertaining. I do not care that you're going to see a 650 frog splash blockbuster as the finisher. I want to see something that gets me invested. And that's what I wish people would understand, at least for me.
Another aspect of what you're talking about where, like you said, AJ Styles can do all these moves. Kofi can do all these moves, but so can any independent wrestler that we've seen. Also, Kofi can do all the moves, but I've seen all the moves. Nobody's shown me a move that I haven't seen, I think, in 5+ years. Like, are we like... I mean, seriously, it is in some form of variation. Everything's been done. Right? Yeah. Everything's been done. You might come new variation of a neck breaker pile driver, but it's just that. Right? Like, we've already done everything we can do. So you have to give me a reason to care about who's winning and who's losing. And that's where Bret Hart didn't do a whole lot of that for me, ever. Yeah,
because they were just really entertaining matches. Cool. Great. I'm kind of done. But Stone Cold Steve Austin would give you right hands, a stunner, and then yell in your face, but then he would get jumped, or he would then pour beer on someone.
He might throw a belt off a bridge, or he might...
Yeah, there was things, and that's what pro wrestling is. It's way more than just in-ring work rate. I don't give a flying fuck about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like...
That's important, and it matters.
Again, but going back to what I initially said, there's a huge difference between Khali and Undertaker fucking walking around on stilts and
shits?
and some real shit there. So I'm saying you have to have a certain caliber of coherent wrestling, but once you've reached that, and again, most people have, you got to do the rest of the shit.
Yeah. So that was our emails. Tableshow@gmail.com. You see why this is great though? We got into a
it's
deep
awesome.
conversation about Bret Hart that we would not have gotten about. And check out World's Strongest Man, or my blog Strongest Man, excuse me. Not Mark Henry. He's this blog Strongest Man.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Henry doesn't live on his block from what I'm to understand. If he does, you might need to change your YouTube title name. But check him out. Check us out. We're on the YouTube also, SpanishAnnounceTable.net for all the links, all our social medias, our TikToks, our Twitters, our Facebooks. Follow us all over the place. Give us money. Donate through the PayPal. Buy some stuff on our merch link, right? I mean, just give us money.
Buy some merchandise. Yeah, buy some merchandise.
Money.
No, buy some merchandise and take a picture if you're wearing it, or if you give it as a gift and they wear it. Let us know.
You don't even have to buy our branded merchandise. I've got some suggestion ads up on the webpage of some stuff you can buy on Amazon, or there's an Amazon link where you can go buy anything you want, and we'll get a kickback from that too. But our merchandise is up there as well.
Yeah, buy our shit.
Our stuff looks cooler than anything you're going to find on Amazon.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yep.
Anything. So buy that, and I guess see us next week, right?
Happy Thanksgiving.
The Spanish Announce Table.